live streaming from Cottage Grove everywhere.
It was insane. But you watched that race. Maiden picked up the victory, and he had to work for it. He really did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the cars that end up behind him. Matthew Drager, Colin Weinbarger, Jesse Williamson, Curtis Towns. That's your
Craig
top five.
Hansen, Dustin Cady, Sean May, and Bryson James, and Tyler Smith are your top 10. I mean, to be number one on that list of top 10, you're driving.
You've done something.
You're driving.
Yep.
At one point during that main, going into turn 2, Jake was barely ahead of Drager, Williamson, and Hansen going into 2, and it literally looked like a rabbit being chased by a pack of greyhounds.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a big old shell game the whole night long.
Well, that's a tricky track, too. I mean, and again, it's one of those tracks where it's so tight, the racing is so tight, you can't screw up.
No.
I mean, if you twitch a little bit, it's going to cost you. And
if you sneeze, you're going...
Yeah, you got to be on point. That's a great list, and again, that's a testament to what this race means in the Northwest, the Marvin Smith Memorial, and what Heather and those guys are doing down there at Cottage Grove. They're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
they really are.
Oh, absolutely.
The promotions of that track have been, I mean,
and the things she does for that track, like the giveaways for admittance, I mean, just all the things she does to draw fans in there that does nothing but help the track to make money. Bottom line. And God, you just got to go out on a limb a little bit there and get some people in for free and watch what happens because it works. And
that's
it's proven for years and years and years.
Absolutely.
Well, the one thing here that we didn't touch on is Weinbarger started towards the front of the pack, ended up getting collected in a caution, and with Cottage Grove's caution rule, cause and collect,
to the back.
He went all the way to the back,
Oh wow!
And in less than 20 laps, raced up to third place,
third or fourth.
Now that's Colin.
Third.
Well, he's a
shoe,
man.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise anybody.
Yeah. He's a good dude when it comes to the track, but
he can get on.
He's good all the way around. He's
when he
cool
gets
kid.
When he gets on the wheel.
Yep.
You better be ready because he's got the hammer down.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So
he ain't there to play.
He's not, and he'll tell you, "Hey, we're not here to make friends."
That's right.
This is night number 2 here.
This is night number 2, the big show for the Marvin Smith Memorial for the 360 sprint cars.
And look at that, Crockett won that feature, and we watched the highlights, and him and Solwald were I mean,
oh man,
they were going at it. And then towards the late stages, Crockett, took control and ran away. I mean, he won by 1.6 seconds.
Which in a sprint car, that's a lot of time.
That's a long time.
I thought he wasn't going to win the thing. I mean, we saw him hook that hole or that rut in turn 4.
Almost went to the turn 4 wall. Did a great job of driving to save it.
Okay, so the track wasn't any better on the second night.
Well, he was up there. He was clear up on the top when he caught that. I don't know if it was a pothole or
there was a rut.
Something, but it just turned that car straight to the wall. He lifted. I mean, you guys saw, and he collected himself, and he lost the lead, but he kept the car out of the wall and ultimately, ran down Solwald and got by him.
Well, that wall comes up pretty fast coming off turn 4. There's a spot there that comes out, and if you're not on it...
Well, and there's that spot where you come out of turn 4 and it kind of levels off as you pull on the racetrack.
It rolls you right into
it. It'll throw you into that wall.
Will Hunholz took a new car that he had just bought down there to run, a modified, and I don't remember if it was hot laps or right out of the gate anyway. He got into the wall right there and destroyed the car.
Yeah,
it was a shame, but that's just part of the track that you need to know in order to run it.
One of the things that makes that track so unique.
Very well put. That's where I was going with that.
Well, look at the lineup we had here. Roger Crockett took home the W and paid me $40.
How'd
Jason,
you get that out of him?
Well, it's what happens when you know,
you know what, though?
You got a good horse in the barn.
You can make that bet, and everybody knows what happened. He said, "I'll take Crockett. Anybody else want the rest of the field?"
Last week's show,
right? You give me those odds, I'll take them every time.
Yeah,
even if
bet.
It is Roger Crockett, and he is great at Cottage Grove, I'm still going to take those odds.
Because so many different things can happen.
Exactly, especially with sprint cars.
Especially.
Yeah, I got lucky.
So, and you heard me talk about Solwald on the last show, and he finished second. I mean,
it was a nail biter.
That was a great race.
It was.
Watching the highlights, it was.
We talk about Solwald. Justin Cox came out of nowhere and was knocking on the door. I mean, It was 2.940 seconds back, but a lot of that stretched out over the last couple laps during that race. I mean, it was slide job, crossover move, out of Sowald and Roger Crockett.
Yeah, we saw us multiple times. We saw that.
It was beautiful racing.
Kyle Miller in the 6A finished 4th. Robbie Price rounds out the top 5. And look at the names behind these guys. There's Forler, Logan Forler in 6. Another name that you wouldn't be surprised to see win this. Reese Getz, another name you'd say, oh, yeah, he won. Garen Linder. I mean, Colin Baker. These guys, we've talked about them just a moments ago, but there is nobody. I mean, there's 10 guys, 12 guys in that list. Henry Van Dam finished 17th.
Patrick Dills, 14th.
Yeah, one of those names you're not surprised. Is J. Cole, 22nd. I mean, if you see any of those guys win, you're not surprised. It's like, oh, he got another one. You know, I mean, that's the level of the talent in that field. And
when we talk about the Marvin Smith race, it is literally time for the big guns to show up.
It is, and that's what you're seeing right there.
This is, I would say, this race in the sprint car realm is equivalent to the late model race for the Clare Cup or
Strawberry Cup
or the IMCA modified nationals at Elma.
Yeah.
This is the big race
for sprint cars. One of the elite races in the Northwest. You know, and probably the most elite for sprint cars, at least in our area.
Absolutely,
I'd put it at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I really would.
I would too.
One of the things that you look at that list and you see that 24th position. You see Nate Morlock. I'll tell you right now, I am glad to hear that he walked away from that incident.
I am too.
That was a nasty ride he took. We've got the video posted on Moxie. Jake Burrell got a hold of us and said, hey, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I hadn't seen it. And I said, can I have permission to use that on Moxie? He's like, absolutely. He goes, put it out there. At least he walked away. And kind of a testament, number one, to how safe those cars really are. And,
of all the wrecks, I don't think anybody was seriously hurt.
Right.
Which,
it surprises me as fast as those cars get around that track.
Oh, and the way they flip it. Oh, my gosh.
Well, look at you're talking on a quarter-mile track. Fast
12.592.
Was your fast time during the main was a 12.567 at 71.616 miles per hour.
That's hooking around that track pretty fast.
That's booking it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, and you think about that. Granted, we see higher speeds at the late models at Willamette Speedway, the Super Sports.
It's a bigger track,
but it's a bigger track. Number one, and number two, that's a way bigger car with a whole lot more metal around you than a sprint car.
A lot more, yeah, and a lot more inertia.
But they don't have the downforce that those sprint cars
that's
have.
Right. That's right.
And I'll tell you what, you look at a sprint car frame, just bare. There ain't much to them.
No, there's not, and you think yourself, I wouldn't want to wreck one of those, but they hold up so well, and to see Nate walk away, because that honestly was a pretty nasty ride that he took, and thank God for the big wing up there and the fence to do its job properly.
Absolutely.
The way it did,
and all the safety gears he was wearing. I mean, it's a testament to it.
Yeah. So I remember being a kid watching Mike Morlock, Nate's dad. He was my favorite sprint car driver to watch. That dude was. You wanted to see his show. I mean, he'd come to Willamette and he'd start backing it in just past the flag stand and just stand on it and get that car to turn with the throttle. And he was always one of my favorites to watch in the sprint cars. And then we got so heavily involved with the late models, I kind of put sprint cars way in the background. But I wish I could have attended this race. I wanted to. I had plans that got shot down big time. This race is, I mean, again, like we said, one of the elite ones in the Northwest that I think is on everybody's list to go watch. Just not just for the quality of the talent, but for the nostalgia and the memory of Marvin. Go to Cottage Grove and find somebody that's going to say anything bad about that dude. It'd be hard to find somebody to do that, but an awesome guy, an awesome race for to honor him and that Cottage Grove crowd. Those are
great
hardcore
crowd.
They are. They're hardcore race fans down there.
Yep.
That is a blue-collar community, and they are blue-collar fans that get into dirt track racing on Saturday night.
Yeah, they get into dirt track racing. They're drinking their beer and rustling it up a little bit afterwards.
They do.
I don't know that.
It's a fun crowd.
Now, at Willamette, we have security. For security, we have
Terrell,
thank you.
And his whole crew.
Yeah, and his I don't know how many's on his crew.
I think there's 3 or 4.
But they actually had uniform security, plus their track security behind the grandstands there when everybody was leaving. It was entertaining to say the least.
But really, they are that whole atmosphere and the whole.
That's part of it.
It's a great crowd
always,
down there.
Yeah,
it is a great crowd,
no doubt.
I've had the pleasure of calling a few races down there, and it's fun. It's different than what you see at Willamette, but man, good crowd.
Yeah,
It's a fun deal, and we'll make this show here one of these next year or two to get down there and cover it, and do what we do as Moxie. It'll be a fun ride.
Yeah,
get down there and do it. But, man, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff here coming up. Our schedule is.
I'm looking forward to you making it to a race.
I know, right?
I love it. I can send you out to Antioch or Cottage
you don't
Grove
send me nowhere.
I love it that you can do that though, because I mean, I actually had really good plans that got destroyed, but we're gonna get hard into race season here the next couple of weeks.
This coming weekend is going to be a big one.
This is our big week.
I don't care where you go, but Willamette's the big show.
This is the show you want to be at.
Well, this is the 56th. Is it the 50?
Well, 69,
66.
right? 1966?
Yeah.
51.
51. So 51st. This is the 51st Strawberry Cup. Now, this is the race that when racers are looking at their schedule and what's going on when the tracks release their schedule, this is the one that they put at the top. If you're not a sprint car driver, sprint cars excluded.
Okay.
Strawberry Cup. I'm going to be there on that date. I mean, it's.
Are you going to be there?
I'll be there. I won't let you guys down this week.
All right.
I'll be there.
I hope so.
But I mean, this is just one of those races.
I'll tell you what. I hope you're there because I know who Mr. Schramm thinks is his backup announcer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I found that out this weekend.
Who's that? You?
Yep.
Good.
He got so scared.
That's a good deal. Oh, did you announce?
No.
Were you threatened with announcing or something?
Yes, multiple times.
Well, that's funny because you can sit here and talk.
It's
very
no different.
Professionally.
It's no different
on this radio, and you get scared about going in the booth. What's up with that?
I don't know. I have stage fright, I guess.
There are more people listening to you on this show right now than there will be.
By far.
Yeah.
Peace, I'm out.
I mean, it's just what it is.
No, you won't say anything
Absolutely.
for the rest of the night. So Jerry Schramm says you're backup announcer, huh?
Well, let's not talk about that.
Oh, we're going to talk about it
how
because you're going to be utilized later on in the season.
Yeah, how you going to do the fire crew and the announcing?
Exactly.
He won't be doing fire crew that night.
Yeah, evidently.
But I am looking forward to the Strawberry Cup. Personally, there's just a lot of sentiment for me in this race.
Me too.
You grew up at Willamette, and you look at the legends that have won this race. It's Don Wilson. We can talk about all the legends that have won this, and you've heard us say the names a million times. It's just that race that is, to Willamette, it's the
synonymous.
It is.
It is.
It carries the nostalgia. It carries the history. It carries the the prestige.
Prestige, you bet.
I mean,
it's a big deal. It really is.
It is. It's
to the drivers, the fans, and everybody. It's a big deal.
Now that we have the Claire Cup, I mean, you can argue which one is bigger. I'd still say the Strawberry Cup.
Oh, I'd have to go with Claire because he holds such a big spot in my heart.
Well, and I agree that we're racing his memory, but you want to talk about the race. I mean, 56 years we've been doing this Strawberry Cup.
And the way I see it, too, is that
this is something Claire created.
The Strawberry Cup is something Claire created, number one. But also, the way I see this and just the stories of Claire, this is the race, the big race at Willamette for all the classes, except for the late models. Because we all knew Claire had the late models in his heart always.
Always.
Oh, sure.
Always.
Yeah. And so it is what it is. Late models take the Claire Cup. Everybody else gets a Strawberry Cup.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's, I got to say this. I know this isn't the Diecast Top Pit, but I'm disappointed it's not a 2-day race. I'm like, how come it's only a 1-day race?
Well, and we've got a lot of that here in the messages at Moxie and your phones and my phone.
I have always known the Strawberry Cup. You got the parade and everything going on with the fair and everything in Lebanon. It's always been a 2-day race, and it's always drawn big crowds. I don't understand why it's not anymore. And that's none of my business. I'm just concerned.
Right. I mean, historically, that's
the way it was.
Right.
And it's
I get it.
disappointing to me.
Yeah. the Strawberry Cup was a 2-day deal, and night number 2 that we crowned
As a matter
the
of fact,
champion.
didn't we have 3 nights a few years? No?
I don't remember that. I do
No?
remember
Okay, well,
the 2-night shows.
I might have been. That was back in my drinking days.
So
So it
last
could have been
year-
3 nights for me.